Hi Enza. I'm just wondering why the camera's blurry. That's a bit strange. Or is it my screen? Well, sorry, I'm not very clear. Not sure why that is. Maybe it's slow Wi-Fi. Ah well, you get the gist. It's getting late here. It's probably best you can't see me that clearly. So, how are we? Day two of our 5-day Science of Success Quick Start Challenge. Never mind. I'm over the blurriness. Okay, so knowing doing gap day today. Hopefully you've had chance to see the task from this morning and see the bonus task video. So today is all about getting really honest with ourselves. Okay, yesterday was very forward looking, and what do we want our lives to look like, and ideally where do we want to be in 12 months time, 2 years time, 5 years time, whatever. So today it's kind of back down to earth with a bump, I suppose, because we are looking at, okay, that's where I want to be. Where am I now? What's the situation that I'm in at the moment that I want to change, and what do I need to do to change it? Hi David. So that's what today's been about so far, and about finding actual practical steps that you can do to move you forward. And I promised that tonight we'd speak a little bit about habits and about behavioural changes that you need to make, and about paradigms. So that is what we're going to do. So I want to start off by talking about the stick person. This is where I get to bring out my fabulous drawing. There we are. Is that the right way around? I'm going to see in a minute on my phone. So a lot of you will have seen this before. This is the stick person that we use, that Bob uses to explain how the mind works. And this is what we're going to use to talk about paradigms today. So this is the right way around, isn't it? So the knowing doing gap is the difference between what we know and what we actually do with that information. So this diagram is a diagram that was first created by Dr. Thurman Fleet in 1934. And he was a doctor who believed very strongly that we mustn't just treat physical symptoms. When people are ill, we mustn't just treat the physical symptoms, we must get to the root cause of what's happening, and that's usually something to do with the mind. So he came up with this diagram, and it's something that we use all the time. I mean, this is the cornerstone to what we teach in Thinking to Results. We come back to this time and time and time again, so it's really important that you understand this piece. Okay, so if you imagine the large circle is your head or your mind, okay, we're going to treat it as your mind. This little circle is your body, a couple of arms and legs. This is where we get the stick person from, you see. So this big circle is your mind. And the mind consists of two parts. Okay, now psychologists, psychiatrists, those kind of people will tell you actually there's lots of different parts to the mind, and I'm sure they're right. But for our purposes and to illustrate our points, we divide the mind into two. So we divide it into the conscious mind. In the top half is your conscious mind. the bottom half is your subconscious mind. Okay, so the conscious mind is what we also call the thinking mind. The subconscious mind is what we call the doing mind. Okay, this is very important. So the conscious mind is the thinking mind. The subconscious mind is the doing mind. So the subconscious, it's the subconscious mind that controls everything that you do. Okay, so when we take in information from our 5 physical senses, so let's have the senses on here. So what you see, hear, taste, touch and smell. You're getting information all the time. Hi Dustin. You're getting information all the time from all these different senses, coming in continuously. You're getting information from watching videos, watching the TV, reading books, reading newspapers, listening to people talking, listening to seminars, whatever. All that information comes through your 5 physical senses into your conscious mind. Okay, so it's your conscious mind that gathers information from the outside. Okay, this acts as a kind of gatekeeper to your subconscious mind. So not all of this information gets into your subconscious mind. Okay, there's a stage in between. So you learn things, you see things, you hear things, people tell you things, you hear rumours, you read stuff. All that information goes into your conscious mind, where it sits. Okay, so your conscious mind is full of knowledge. Everything you've ever heard, everything you've ever seen, tasted, touched, smelt, all sits as information, knowledge in your conscious mind. But nothing happens to it. It just sits as information that you can regurgitate, that you can tell other people. You can say, oh, I heard this the other day. This is brilliant. You can recount stories. It's just stored there for you to tell other people, remember, but you don't actually do anything with it. Okay? In order for you to actually do something with that information, it needs to make its way into the subconscious part of the mind. Okay? Because remember, this is the doing mind. This is the part that controls everything that you do. So, what this means is you can know things, you can know that you need to eat fewer calories than you burn if you want to lose 2 stone in weight. You can know that. It can sit in your conscious mind, but if it doesn't make its way into the subconscious mind, it ain't going to happen. It might do temporarily. You might be able to force actions to happen for a few days or a couple of weeks, but if you don't get this idea, this knowledge into your subconscious mind, which then changes what we call your paradigm, which we'll talk about in a minute, if you don't get that information into your subconscious mind, you're not going to make permanent change. And this is why so many people spend years and years and years trying to get businesses to work, trying to earn more money, trying to change results in relationships, trying to change the health results, everything that they're trying to change. They never get permanent results with it because they don't understand this relationship. Okay, so let me just go a little bit further and add your paradigm in here. So some of you will have heard about paradigms. Maybe some of you have attended Bob's paradigm shift event, which is amazing. So your paradigm sits here. And your paradigm is what we spoke about yesterday. Your paradigm is that operating system. So that programming that you've got that's running all the time in your subconscious mind that affects how you walk, you talk, you think, you feel about things, the things you believe, the self-image, everything that's built up since before you were born, actually, that makes up you, that makes up how you are and how you act, that is your paradigm. Okay, and your paradigm is basically a multitude of habits, and it's habitual behaviour. That's what it results as. So, and that sits here in your subconscious mind. And, so when you're conceived in the womb, you get a little bit of DNA from mom, a little bit of DNA from dad, and that kind of starts you off with your paradigm. Okay, you get a little bit of how you're physically going to look, you know, how your internal organs are going to be structured and all that kind of thing. And then as you grow up, your paradigm develops environmentally, so from things you hear, things you see, things you're told, the way your parents brought you up to be, the things you heard said about different people, the beliefs, everything, things people said about you that made you believe certain things about yourself. All that goes to make up your paradigm, and that is what controls how you act. And it's how you act that determines your behaviour and that determines your results. So this is critical. So it doesn't matter what you hear, what you see, any of the information that comes into here, it just sits as standalone information. If it's not making its way into your paradigm and changing the way you behave, nothing's going to happen with that. So, you know, for example, speaking personally, I spent years and years and years trying to make my businesses work, going on every single course you could imagine, Facebook ads, Google ads, direct mail courses, how to create online courses, just Facebook Messenger bots, email autoresponders, everything. I just tried everything to try and make my businesses work. And this was all sitting as conscious information, even though I implemented stuff, because I'm a really good follower, I'm really good at doing what I'm told. I would learn all this stuff and set it all up and implement it, but because I wasn't programmed to act like the person I wanted to be, the person who gets the results that I want to get, it affected my actual behaviour, it affected what I actually did, it affected how I put myself in front of people, if I put myself in front of people, it affected the way I felt about selling to people, it affected the way I felt about asking people for money. You know, that was all built into my paradigm a long, long time ago. And because all was happening with these courses was I was just taking in more and more information, more and more knowledge, it wasn't actually changing my behaviour and it wasn't changing my end results. And this is true for everybody. This is what happens over and over and over again. And unless you understand this relationship, unless you understand that just taking on more information, just coming on a 5-day challenge and listening to me talking and even doing the exercises isn't actually going to change your behaviour. Okay, you've got to change your paradigm to change your behaviour. So how do you change your paradigm? Well, the subconscious mind is also, we called it the doing mind, it can also be called the emotional mind. Okay? The way to get information and thoughts and ideas from your conscious mind into your subconscious mind and therefore into your paradigm, there are two ways, basically, okay? There's a sudden emotional impact. That's one way. If you have a sudden emotional impact about something, it will move information from your conscious mind into your subconscious mind. And the other way is repetition. So obviously the way we deal with this is through repetition. So we get people to change their paradigm through repetition of ideas. Okay, it's over and over and over again, teaching the same thing over and over, reading the same thing over and over and over again, listening to the same thing over and over and over again. That's how we do it in Thinking Into Results. But you will also see, I mean, prime example at the moment with the coronavirus, how many of us have changed our habits? I bet there's a lot of people on here that have started to change their habits, and that's your paradigm, okay? And the reason that's changed is A, through repetition of ideas, because we're being told over and over and over again, you must wash your hands with soap for 20 seconds multiple times a day. You must wash your hands with soap for 20 seconds multiple times a day. Okay, we're having that drummed into us through repetition, and it's being presented to us in a way that's creating an emotional impact because people are worried. You know, people are seeing the results of what's happening and they're saying, if I don't do this, something bad, really bad could happen. Okay, so that's an emotional impact as well. And so we're getting a double whammy from the coronavirus information that we're getting. And that is changing our paradigm, it's changing what we believe. and it's changing our habitual behaviour. So we can see it in action. Now, from a success point of view, a science of success point of view, this is what we want to be doing when it comes to our C-type goal, because we want to be changing our habitual behaviour so that it becomes behaviour that's going to move us towards our goal without us even thinking about it. So, you know, behaviour such as getting up early on a morning. Maybe I get up at 5:30 on a morning and I have a particular routine that I go through, okay? And that has helped me, that has played a huge part in me moving forward, moving towards my C-type goal, creating the business that I wanted. So that might sound like a small thing, but I do that automatically now. 2 years ago, there is no way I would have contemplated getting up at 5:30. I would leave the alarm until the last minute, until I actually absolutely had to get up to take the kids to school, okay? But that is now habitual behaviour. It's part of my paradigm. It's just part of the way I operate. I just set my alarm for 5:30. I just get straight out of bed in the morning, get straight on with what I've got to do. Okay, I set 6 goal achieving activities on a night time for the next day, or first thing on the morning when I get up. And that has skyrocketed my productivity, okay? That has become habitual behaviour. I don't even think about it. It's the first thing I do. I am now programmed to start with number 1 on that list and not move on to number 2 until I've finished number 1, and not move on to number 3 until I've finished number 2. That is part of my habitual behaviour now, and it makes a huge difference, because every item on that list is moving me towards my C-type goal. So for the purposes of this week, we want to get to a point where all those non-productive activities that you've written down today are, in an ideal world, are all gone and have all been replaced by productive activities that have become habitual behaviour that you do without even thinking about it. Okay, that is what we're trying to get to, because it's your paradigm that creates action, that makes you do things, and that's what creates results. So this relationship, it's really important to understand this relationship between thinking in your conscious mind. You know, when you think about something, it makes you feel a certain way. And if it makes you feel a certain way, that determines the actions that you take. And then the actions that you take create the results. So this is why yesterday I was trying so hard to get you emotionally involved with your C-type goal. Because if you've got an idea, if you've got a thought of something that you'd like to have one day, have a nice, you know, oh, that'd be nice, wouldn't it be nice to have that one day? If it just sits as an idea in your conscious mind as a, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? If it just sits as that, nothing's ever going to happen to it. You've got to get emotionally involved with that idea, so the idea moves down into your subconscious mind, and we start to change your beliefs that it can actually happen and how you feel about it. And once you do that, it starts to change your behaviour, and your habits start to change. So this is where the difference, this is the knowing doing gap, okay? This is the difference between what you know and what you actually do. You know, you can know tons of stuff. This is why so many clever people that have been to university for their whole lives and have letters coming off the end of the business card, you know, and they're broke because they're not actually doing anything with the information. They're just reeling it off to everybody, or writing books that don't make any money, or writing theses, or just, you know, they just know it. They're just really clever, and we all know people like that. We all know people that we think are really clever, and they've got lots of information, and they just know the answer to everything, and they're just broke. They've not achieved what they wanted to achieve in life at all, and most of them are settling for far less than they could actually achieve. So I hope that's made sense. And here is, look, there's my little stick person. I think Nigel was asking. Oh, Dustin's on. Dustin, I do know that I haven't sent you your pin yet from months ago. Dustin won one of these months ago, and I haven't sent it yet, so I promise I will send it at some point. Although it might get stuck in customs with things at the moment. So where are we? So that is the stick person. That was the first thing that I wanted to explain to you. The other thing that I was going to talk about was the law of cause and effect. Emerson said, you know, we spoke a little bit about the laws of the universe yesterday. And Emerson said that the law of cause and effect was the law of all laws. Okay? The law of cause and effect is the law of all laws. It's absolutely, it's the key to everything. Okay, we can't control the effects that we get. At the end of the day, we can't really control the results that we're going to get. What we can control is the cause. Okay, we can control what we're doing. So we have to make sure that everything that we're doing is hopefully leading to a result that we want. Every cause we're creating is hopefully leading to an effect that we want, because every cause has an effect and every effect has a cause. So all you have to do is focus, is worry about the cause, is worry about what you're doing. Okay, you can't worry about the result that's going to come from it, because you don't have any control over that. You can only control what you put in. You can only control the cause. You know, you might. So the law of cause and effect is kind of the scientific way of looking at it. Law of harvest, you might have heard that if you're a bit more from a bit more of a theological background. You know, the law of harvest, what you sow you reap. Yeah. Or, you know, more spiritual, law of karma. You know, what you give out you get back, basically. What goes around comes around. All the same thing. So you've got to be so aware of what you are doing on a daily basis, because what you're doing is creating an effect. The cause you're creating is going to result in an effect of some kind, in a result of some kind. And you've got to know that and then take responsibility for that, because every single result you're getting is a result of something you've done. Usually a decision that you've made, or a multitude of decisions that you've made. And this is where, you know, this pisses people off sometimes. You know, they don't like hearing it, but you know, this is the truth. You know, the results that you're getting in life are the result of the decisions that you've made in the past and actions that you've taken in the past. And the results that you will get going forward in life are a result of the decisions that you are going to make going forward. Nobody else's. Nobody else's. And that all starts with thinking. It all starts with the thoughts that you have. Okay? So the thoughts that you have are going to cause you to feel a certain way. That feeling is going to cause you to act a certain way, and that's going to create results. And nobody can make you think something. You have absolute control over your thoughts. You have absolute control over what comes into this subconscious mind. Now, what most people do, the vast majority of the population, let everything in here. They hear something. This is, you know, we're in perfect time to explain this. Most of the population will hear news on the TV that's scary, immediately get emotionally involved with it, immediately go, oh God, oh no, what am I going to do? Oh God, what if this happens? What if that happens? They will immediately get emotionally involved with it, which moves the information into their subconscious mind, and it changes the way they act. I mean, it will cause a physical manifestation in your body. People who are really anxious, they'll get sweaty palms, they might shake, they might get a headache, they might, you know, it might come out in a rash, in a skin condition. Anxiety, all emotion manifests itself in form. So you have to have control over what you get emotionally involved with, especially at a time like this. You have to maintain control over what you let into this subconscious part of your mind, because if you're just letting everything in by getting emotionally involved with everything, you're going to have a really hard time with it. And you don't have to do that. You can decide that you're going to reject it. You can say, okay, I've seen that, but I'm not going to get involved with it. And that might sound tough, it might sound difficult. to start with, it probably will be difficult, and this is why we do what we do. You know, it's not difficult for me anymore. I choose what I decide. I choose what I get emotionally involved with, and it's not very much, to be honest, unless it's something that benefits me. You know, I don't really get stressed about stuff. I don't get annoyed about stuff. You know, and that's through the work that I've done. But mainly it's through understanding this and understanding that you control what moves through your conscious mind into your subconscious mind. Let's go look at some of these comments. Oh, there's only... Oh, Dan's on now. Okay. So, where did we get to? Law of cause and effect. So you make sure that you are consciously aware of the causes that you are creating every day. Because at the end of the day, that's all you can control. But that's all you need to control. You need to make sure that you are doing what you need to do to move yourself towards that C-type goal. It's funny, you know, I've already had people start to send messages telling me, oh, really sorry I can't do the rest of the challenge this week because I think somebody said they were preparing for the coronavirus measures that had been brought in. I'm not really sure what takes 4 days to prepare for it. Maybe she's a school teacher or something. But this is exactly what I was talking about yesterday and earlier today. You know, you've got to ask yourself how willing you are really to do the work you need to do to achieve that C-type goal, because there is nothing stopping you achieving that C-type goal except you. You are the only person that's stopping that. And I see this happens all the time. By Friday, we'll probably have 60% of people will have dropped off because they go on to other things, and that's fine, you know. But that shows up in all different areas of life. And the people who achieve that C-type goal are the ones who commit to doing what they need to do and stick with it. You know, you can't just dabble in and out. You can't just dip in and out of this stuff. You've got to be committed to it, and you've got to do what you need to do. You know, and if you do that, you will be astonished at how much ground you make in a few months. It's just phenomenal. If you abide by what we're telling you, I mean, I know this is only a quick start challenge, so I know we're only going to cover a few things this week, which will, if you listen to me and you do what I'm telling you to do, you will see a change in you by the end of the week. Not everybody will do it. A lot of people will drop off, as I say. You know, probably only between 2 and 8% of the people in this group will go on and actually do something with it. Everybody else will just kind of keep it in the conscious mind and say, that was nice, I enjoyed that challenge, and then forget it, which is a shame, but that's just how it is. You know, that's just human nature, unfortunately. But this is why so few people get what they really want in life, because they don't have they're not willing to do what they need to do. And sometimes that's down to the goal. Sometimes they don't have that clear goal that they're really emotionally attached to. And if you don't start working on it now, you know, it could take you quite a long time to do this. If you don't start working on it now, you might never sort it out. You might never actually get it. So, you know, it amazes me how people kind of say they want something, but then drop off and don't do what they need to do. How do we reprogram our subconscious mind? And through the two ways that I spoke about. So sometimes it's an emotional impact, as we're kind of going through at the moment. 9/11 was another example of a big emotional impact. So like overnight, people's paradigms all around the world changed. So remember, your paradigm is a mixture of your beliefs and your habitual behaviour and your self-image. And suddenly, you know, what we were seeing and hearing on 9/11 on the news and in the newspapers and things had such an emotional impact around the world that it just immediately changed everybody's paradigm. It changed what they believed about what was possible, about particular groups of people, about themselves, about how safe they were, about flying, about all kinds of things. It changed overnight pretty much people's paradigms, and that changed their behaviours, towards people. It changed the behaviour towards fear of travelling, towards what they thought about governments. It just changed everything, and that changes your action, you know, changes the way you vote. It changed the way you physically act towards people, the decisions that you make. You know, that's what happened. So it's either an emotional impact. Obviously during training and coaching we can't do that ethically, not really, and it's usually a negative impact, usually a negative emotional impact. And the other way is through repetition. So whatever it is you want to change, so if you've got a particular habit that you want to change, you've got to keep seeing yourself. And when we say your physical senses, seeing, we use visualizing. So like we did yesterday, if you close your eyes and visualize, that's you seeing. Okay, so if you see what you want over and over and over and over again, and you get emotionally involved with that idea, with that vision, that will move into your subconscious mind, and your beliefs start to change. So your beliefs, your paradigm starts to change. What you believe is possible starts to change. What your paradigm thinks is going to happen starts to change. And that's what affects your actions going forward. So it's repetition, really. That's how we reprogram your subconscious mind. That's how we reprogram your paradigm. But as I say, sometimes it happens through an emotional impact as well. What was the other thing I had? So the other thing, I made this note today when I was looking at comments in the group and thinking about what normally happens at this point in the challenge. The other law that I was thinking about today was the law of sacrifice. The law of sacrifice basically sounds a bit scary, but it's basically the understanding that you have to give up something of a lower value in order to receive a higher value. That's what sacrifice is about. It's about giving up or offering something of a lower value, because you believe if you do that you're going to receive something of a higher value to you. And this has a lot to do with people being willing or not being willing to do what they need to do. So as soon as people start to get involved with this C-type goal and start to think about what that would mean and what they would have to do to achieve that, they suddenly start to think, well, I'd have to get up at 5:30 in the morning, and I like my lions, and I need 8 hours sleep, and things like, well, I like being able to pick my kids up from school, I like being able to drop my kids off and pick them up again from school, and I'm not willing to put them into after school care for a couple of hours. These are personal decisions that people have to make, and decide, is that sacrifice? For example, is letting the kids go to after school clubs. This is something that I've done, and it took me a long time to make the decision to do it. Is the kids going to after school club, is that giving up something of a lower value in order for me to receive a higher value? Well, for me, it kind of got easier as they got older, and it meant that actually Daisy could go and play with her friends instead of being bored for a couple of hours after school. She could go and play with her friends, and I could do a few hours work, which money-wise, cash-wise, is worth a lot more to me than the money I'm paying out for the childcare. But that's a personal decision, and some people will say it's not worth it to me to lose 2 hours time with my daughter every day in order to be able to work for 2 hours. That it's a personal decision you've got to make, but these are the decisions that you have to make, and we're making them all the time, and you have to understand that you are making these decisions all the time, and everything that's resulting for you is a result of decisions that you are making, and that's fine. Everybody makes decisions based on their wants and on their beliefs and on their own situation. But be consciously aware that you are making decisions all the time. And are you making decisions because they're going to move you towards that C-type goal? Because they're going to move you towards the life you want for you and your family? Or are you making decisions out of habit and based on maybe beliefs that you've always had, and maybe those beliefs have changed a bit, but you haven't updated your programming, and you're still making decisions based on who you were a few years ago? Because quite often that is what happens, and you have to review this and understand that every decision you make throughout the day is going to result in an effect. And is that the effect that you want? Or are you going to be looking back and saying, wish I'd done something different? So, law of sacrifice is the other law that I wanted to speak about today. And, you know, quite often people just aren't prepared to sacrifice what they would need to sacrifice to be able to do what they want to do. Personal decision. But what really gets my goat is when people make decisions and then complain about it. So, you know, people make decisions based on what they want and what they feel is right and on their values and all that kind of thing, but then will quite often blame somebody else for that decision. Blame the government, or blame the economy, or blame their employer, or blame their spouse, or something else like that. Every decision you make is your decision, and you've got to take responsibility for that. Got to take responsibility for it, and ask yourself, how much do I want this C-type goal? How much do I want it? Is it really that important to me? Because some people decide that it's not. You know, some people decide they are just happy to settle. And am I prepared to do what I need to do to achieve it? It's a toughie. It's a difficult one, and a lot of people either never make the decision at all or decide that they're not willing to do it. Now then, did I have another question? Oh, now then. Has anybody actually commented in my comments bit? No. Where was that comment that I saw? Where was it? It was somebody asking how you change somebody else's frequency. I'm not sure who it was that asked. We haven't really spoken about frequencies, but we'll be speaking about frequency and vibration on Thursday. But when we talk about frequencies, those of you who aren't used to that or don't know what I mean, we are a mass of energy. Okay, we're just a mass of energy, vibrating energy. Okay, everything is. So I'm not going to go into the. I'll just embarrass myself if I go into the physics of it all. But basically, everything is made of energy, all vibrating at different speeds. So if you look at anything under a microscope, you will see the little tiny molecules all vibrating at different speeds. Everything's moving if you look at it under a microscope. Okay, just vibrating at different speeds. So something metal vibrates, the atoms within it vibrate at a different speed to the way that wood is made up and the way that skin is made up, and that's different to the way plastic is made up, and everything vibrates at different speeds, which includes your skin, what's inside your body, and your thoughts, because your thoughts are energy. Okay, your brain is like an electronic switching station. So your brain is the organ that's creating these electronic signals, and it's the activity within that that's your mind. So your brain is not your mind. The brain's the organ, the mind is the activities that's created by the organ. But that's the same, everything's vibrating at different speeds. And in order to attract anything, so this is what we're going to speak about on Thursday, in order to attract the thoughts you want, the ideas you want, the people that you want to attract, you've got to get your vibrational frequency on the same level as that thing. So when we talk about C-type goals and getting emotionally involved with it, that's what increases your frequency. That's what increases the level that you're vibrating at, that your thoughts are vibrating at. So getting emotionally involved with that C-type goal works twofold. So the first way is by moving those ideas into your subconscious mind so that you will start to act on them. And the second way is so that you can attract the things that you need to attract in order to achieve that C-type goal. You won't attract them where you are now. This is why you won't know the how, okay? So the vibrational level that you're on at the moment, down here somewhere, is different to where you want to be. You want to be up here, okay? Your C-type goal's up here. So your answers, the answers to how you're going to achieve that, all the thoughts you need and the ideas you need are on this frequency, and you're down here. And the only way you're going to get these answers is to move your frequency up here to where your C-type goal is. So, and that's what happens when you get emotionally involved with it and you're visualizing it repeatedly. You start to raise your vibrational level. And there's other ways that we do that. You know, we use essential oils. There are all sorts of different techniques that you can use. You will see people talking about raising your frequency. But this is the one that's most important to us. It's the visualizing that C-type goal and getting emotionally involved with it. And you can feel, you know, when we talk about feelings, that's being consciously aware of the vibration that you're in. So when you feel good, that's being consciously aware that you're in a positive vibration. And when you feel a bit rubbish, that's being consciously aware that you're in a negative vibration. So again, I won't go too much into it today because we're going to cover it on Thursday. But you can increase your own frequency with some work by keeping your thoughts positive, not letting negative ideas in, not taking all this stuff in about the coronavirus. Yes, take in the knowledge and act on it. So, you know, practice self-care, practice the care of the environment around you, make sure that you're looking out for people around you. Take on that knowledge and act on it, but don't get emotionally involved with it, because that will affect your frequency. It'll bring your vibrational level down, and we don't want that. You cannot change somebody else's frequency, okay? And you shouldn't really attempt to, unless you want a few choice words back. So by increasing your own frequency, your own vibrational level, what does happen, if you maintain it for any period of time, it does have a bit of a ripple effect. So you will see that it changes the way people act towards you. You know, if you suddenly start being really positive and feeling happy and feeling giving and all those really good feelings, and you're giving all that out, and it comes off you. You know, you can see it on scanners, the energy comes off you, and they can measure the kind of energy that's coming off you, and it emits from you, and people can feel it. You know, if you ever walk into if you ever come home from work or from being out or something and you're feeling happy and you've had a productive day, and you come in and you open the door and you know straight away something's wrong without even seeing your partner or your parents or whatever. You can just feel that something's wrong, and you go, okay, and they go, yeah. You go, everything all right? And they go, and you think, no, that's being consciously aware of their vibration, because they're in a negative vibration which is at odds to yours. So you can feel each other's vibration, and sometimes it does rub off. You know, I'm very susceptible to this now. If people are in a negative vibration around me, I really feel it, and I have to get out of the way, because I feel it quite quickly and quite intensely, and I don't like the feeling. That's something that's just happened over the last couple of years because I've been practicing this. But So you can kind of inadvertently or indirectly affect other people's vibration, because they will get the feeling from you, and they might pick up on it and they might raise their own level of vibration to match it, but you can't actually raise somebody else's, because it has to come from the inside. It comes from the thoughts. That's the point. It comes from what people are thinking and what you're thinking. So if somebody else is having bad thoughts about something, they've got to change those thoughts to be able to change the frequency. Don't know if that's explained it. I think it has. There's quite a lot to it, really, you know. And it's, you know, law of vibration, law of attraction is really, really important. It's a big piece of what we do. It's a big piece of what changes people's results. So it is important, and it's not something that everybody gets straight away. And we'll talk on Thursday about why most people get it wrong, actually. Let me just make sure I'm not missing any comments. I'll look on my phone if I can find me. I can find me. Let's have a look. Don't think I've missed any comments. No. Excuse me. Right, where are we? 7:15. Okay, we've been going about 45 minutes. Does anybody have any questions they want to ask? Want to share any wins with us? Share anything with us? Use the time while you've got it, folks. Wonder why it's so blurry. It's a bit strange, that, isn't it? I don't think it was blurry yesterday. Maybe it's the internet speed. A little bit strange. So, just while I'm just waiting to see if anything comes through, tomorrow is self-image day, big day tomorrow. Law of attraction on Thursday, terror barrier on Friday. Self-image, I've got the main task for you in the morning and the bonus task as usual. Then tomorrow evening, what are we talking about tomorrow evening? I can't remember what we're talking about tomorrow evening without looking on my schedule. But any questions to do with self-confidence, any questions about not being able to see yourself being successful? I get a lot of questions about that. You know, quite often people can kind of believe something's possible, so they'll see other people doing something, see other people being successful at something, and say, yeah, well, if they can do it, I can do it, because I know what they know, and they know better than I am. So consciously they know it's possible, subconsciously they can't actually see themselves achieving it. So that self-image sits in your paradigm, okay? And the self-image plays a big part in your paradigm, plays a big part in what you believe is possible for yourself, what's possible, what you think other people think of you, and what you think other people think is possible for you. So self-image, massive, and when you change your self-image, you change your paradigm. So anything about beliefs, self-image, self-confidence, have a think about what kind of questions you might already have, even before we do the exercises, and get your questions in the Facebook group, and then I can have a think about them before the live. Okay, well, I've got no other comments coming through, no other questions coming through. There may be a delay, so if anybody's asking any questions and I see them after we've finished, I'll answer them tomorrow. Okay. So that's it. I shall leave you there then. Thank you very much, those of you who've joined me, those of you watching the recording, thank you. Get your questions in the Facebook group, and I'll be back with you tomorrow for day 3. Thank you very much. Bye for now.